We ain't. What's good, young and motivated? Yeah. Miss Kia B, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You already know, man. G Cam. I don't know, man. Shout out from Germany. Respect. You have to be able to show what. Yeah, I was trying to add to a logical convo with facts from an Islamic level. Yeah, we could do it. It could just be a minute because because I don't think I really want ops. I really want opponents. But I'm tapping you in, make it rain, Mr. Make It Rain.
Peace.
Peace. What's good with you, bro?
You got a lot of patience.
I got. They're gonna look for any excuse to say I cut them off. That's what he was saying. That's why I even tapped back in, because his girl or somebody was saying that I cut him off before, this and that. Okay, well, I ain't gonna cut you off. But now you see, like, if I did cut you off, this is probably why I cut you off, because
absolutely,
I'm thinking we can have a realistic conversation about reality instead of, but
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people aren't qualified, so it's like, to even speak certain things, like you can't hold them to those standards because they don't understand that they don't understand. So, I mean, much respect to him for trying to hold up his end, but it's just some things just cause for it to be low.
Man, I gotta deal with this every day, though, bro. I gotta deal with this every day. And you think, growing up, you think that people that's running these companies, or that's doctors and lawyers, or people that actually got authority over your life, or over your children, like school teachers, like people actually believe, like, this is who our world is, in the hands of people whose judgment is like this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I ain't with it. That scared the shit out of me. That's just to know that it's people behind wheels of cars and all of it. Like, you might say, okay, no, well, there's a beautiful angel right there. I can run this red light and shit and kill everybody. Like, if that's what your judgment is, then
it's like the first red light, the first red flag was the fact that he didn't want to be seen. And I mean, when it comes down to actual facts, you got to be able to, at least let us know who's the man behind the speaker.
Right. That means you don't, that means you don't want to possibly face the embarrassment that's going to come from what's probably going to happen. Like me, niggas know, like, oh, that's Cam. Even if that's Cam, I don't know. I know his voice. Like, I can't hide if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to come all the way out in the open, like, let's go, let's do it. Respectful as possible, but
absolutely. I mean, a lot of people look at debates as though it has to be disrespectful, man, or things like that, but it doesn't have to be disrespectful. I mean, it's just the challenge of facts on facts.
Yeah.
So sometimes when a person may have certain, especially in the Islamic standpoint, there's what you call rawahu, which is narratives.
Yeah.
Some of those narratives, some of them, especially when it comes down to the hadith and aspects of the sunnah, some are sahih, some are authentic. Others have good chains, they're hasan. Some are hasan al-gharid, which means they're strange, but they're still good and in good standards. You have others which are da'if, which means that they're weak, but they may have other parts that strengthen them and other narratives.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, if a person isn't talking about that type of science or to that scholastic level, can't really talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's obvious. But then I have to try to treat everybody as important as I want to be treated. So I just can't, like, toss you to the side, like, you don't know what you're talking about. I gotta be patient and actually pay you attention and give you the respect to say your whole thing, even though in my mind, like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, but whatever. because I want you to be able to say your piece, but then I'm gonna say some stuff that I know you can't answer.
Exactly.
And then, I mean, you know, then his emotions gonna flare, and, you know.
Yeah, because I mean that's just being diplomatic. I'm saying, you know, at the same time, you don't want to embarrass anybody. It's just that, you know, you gotta sometimes you gotta pull the chain back. Like, hold on. I don't know where this conversation is going.
Oh man. And like I said, you know, I got some homies that's Shia. I mean, Sunni too. I got some homies that Shia, like, and they more open to the science of Islam. And when I say science, I don't mean the quote unquote white man's science, like their conclusions. That's not science. The word science just means serious study of reality, or serious study or dissecting, you know, studying and learning the knowledge of what is.
Absolutely.
So when I say the word science, Quran, I'm not talking about white people science, some stuff that they already claimed that the, you know, human beings was only 6,000. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about us being the scientists right now and getting to the bottom of this or that. You know,
exactly. Actually, in Arabic, the majority of books that pertain to the understanding behind things is called ulum. So you might have a book called ulum al-ihya, or the books of or sciences of life, or the sciences of guidance. You have also books of ulum al-minhaj, books of methodology to study to find out how exactly do you derive what you derive from your understanding of the Quran. And that's one of the things in which I'm sure that he wanted to touch on, but he didn't know how to touch on it.
Man,
so you have one of the things to understand, like when it comes down to especially the Islam as far as from overseas, is that the study of the Quran goes from the Quran explaining itself, right? So things that's within the Quran, it already explains itself. But then everything of the Quran is like almost like a table of contents, which means that you can build on top of everything which is stated. Right. It's only giving you the basic keys for
Right. It's formula. It's mathematic formula that you can build anything off of.
Exactly.
But we want to take that formula like that's the end all be all. Like it's the end when it's really the beginning. It's trying to give you the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s to go as far as you possibly want to go. But we like, no, you can't go there. It says this, you know, like, oh no, that's why the Islamic world is in the conditioning scene. That's why the Caucasians is killing us with science and technology and all that, because that's Islam they practicing. They just using it for wickedness. That's science. They cracking open reality. They in the Quran. They the ones knew that you can crack an atom, or that the you know, astronomy or whatever had orbits. The planets had orbits. They got all that from the Quran. But we on the book talking about Mary didn't have no. I mean, well, you know, you know, you know.
Well, the thing is, there's like. I actually had a conversation before I came across your live. I actually was having a conversation with a family member pertaining to the responsibleness of sharing knowledge.
Right.
And what it is that, like, to share knowledge, Islamic knowledge, there's a methodology to it, just so to make sure that the people who are listening don't falling from fact to opinion.
Right.
Now, a lot of times, some of the things that are derived from the foundation, the usul, that's what in the Arabic language is called usul. Some of the things that are based from the foundations, people end up placing their opinion upon it. They might have something that which they derive from it. Even the scholars, a lot of times, the scholars derive opinions and fatwas based off of what they've learned. But however, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is the end all, the absolute end all to everything that's Islamic, of that story, that narrative, or anything that's based on the Quran. So the main thing is just making sure that everything is responsible when one says it, and that they can go back to, as it says in the Quran, it says, Hatta burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin. Produce your proof if you are truthful.
Ooh,
So that goes
that's
back
a bar.
to
Hold on. We have to rewind. Bring that beat back. Say that again. Say that again one more time.
In the Quran, it says, "Hatta burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin." It says, "Produce your proof if you are truthful." So that's where a lot of times we derive from that the basic show and prove. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that whatever you say is actual facts.
Man, if I knew that language like you did, boy, they would not like me. And it's not I don't got no bad spirit in it, just like you don't, because it's true some certain things that we you and I or you and the Navy, you might not even agree, but we just based on that intellect and that ability to critically look at something. That's all I'm looking for. I told a few people the other day on the other live, man, it's a part of me that I wish you could prove the N.O.I teachings wrong, because it's too much discipline. It's too much. I wish I could relax on my discipline and stuff could really be the way you believe it is. But my brain and my manhood and the proof and the evidence and I'm too much of a logical, realistic thinker to ever drop my guard and go by what you believe or you believe or you believe. I got to go by what the real Quran is, which ain't that little book with 114 surahs in it. The real Quran is the creation. The real Quran is the universe. The real Quran is the atoms and the molecules and the elements, and they don't never change. So that's obviously Allah's law. He obviously works with atoms, and y'all call atoms science. Oh, you can't say science, Quran. Wait a minute, hold on a minute. Everything is made out of atoms. You can call it science if you want. I call it Islam. You can say it's science. I call it Islam. I call it fact. I call it provable reality. But
absolutely,
hey.
One of the things which I've always said was that for myself, everything which I've learned Islamically, I've learned by way of observing what goes on around me. Everything that takes place in life. And the things that we come across in the Quran is only giving you the points to be taken from it. So that if you didn't recognize it by yourself, then at least the Quran is there to put it in text so that you can understand it correctly on its proper level. So I agree with you when it comes down to the understanding of the Quran. It comes from what you have observed. So if a person was to live for, say, 10,000 years, 20,000 years, what they know and the understanding that they get out of life is going to be that which is found within the Quran.
Yeah. The Quran touches on the principles of all things. It just don't go into the details of all things.
Exactly. Now the thing is that, like, the details, and this is where when I'm sure that he was trying to get to the last person that was on, when it comes down to what we would call in Arabic, we would say it's called qiyas or ijtihad, when a person starts to utilize all of the different subjects and categories that he's derived from the Quran and from other places to make his final judgment on how to react and how to live what is being said. So according to one of the scholars whose name was Ibn Taymiyyah, he was a mid-century scholar, mid-age scholar, I would say. He came up with a criterion that says there are 7 different rules of tafsir, of understanding of how to break down the Quran. It says you have to understand Quran by Quran. You have to understand Quran by way of what Prophet Muhammad said while those verses was being revealed to him specifically. Then after you've understood how those verses were revealed specifically, then you go to who was around him, meaning those companions, those Sahaba who was living with Prophet Muhammad, who ate with him, who warred alongside with him, who married into his family, those who died upon the same belief system that he had. For those, you find out what was the history that they spoke about and how did they teach it in those first generations. Then once you understand that part, then you get into linguists. So one of the things that we understand is that the Arabic language is a poetical language, so that there's almost 7 different ways to understand one particular word. So you have to understand the linguistics behind it. So just like in the English language, we know English only dates back 700 years.
Yeah.
Well, Semitic language, Arabic being one of the oldest Semitic languages, you understand that that's one of the most ancient languages you can understand. Not saying that that's still the original language, but it came from the original language.
Right.
So to understand that, we have to go to the etymology. And so that's where those scholars get into that part. So now we went from Quran by Quran, Quran by Prophet Muhammad, Quran by the companions, Quran by the linguist scholars. Then we go into the scholars who broke it down after that, right? Going into the aspects of what they call the Israeliyat. The Israeliyat are the histories that was found in the Bible, the histories that was found in the Pentateuch, the histories that was found in the Septuagints, the history that was found within the Apocrypha Deuterocanonicals. All those books that aren't found within, you know, the Nicene Creed Bible that they have today.
Right.
The scriptures. So then, knowing that they had those back then, during the time period of those original companions of Prophet Muhammad, and they therefore understood certain things in the light of what came to them at that time.
Yeah, in that context.
Yeah. Then from there, then you end up going into that last level, which is the 7th level, which is now you have the ability to take it upon yourself. Now, if I add all this math up, what's the total?
Yeah.
And that's your own personal opinion. You can be able to make that on your own.
Man. Bars. Like,
so a lot of times, like, a lot of people don't know that alone. They don't know that those sciences. So it's like a person might jump and go directly to, well, I feel or I say or I think, but it's like we're not qualified to go to that level until we found out what was said before me. Because if I end up making the error in this, then I get the blame for that.
Right.
And I pass that down into, I'm not being responsible in regards to my theological knowledge. So I'm passing that down to somebody, and they're gonna pass it down. And next thing you know, you have an entire religion created, man-made religion created, based off of something that was supposed to have been facts, but is now based off of my opinion. And that's how most of these religions began, because what was actual facts turned into opinions that, well, my side, I believe this. His side, he believes that. He took those same sciences and turned it to that. And so now you have this person over here saying, well, I'm Jew, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, and then breaking it down into different sects.
Yeah.
Where a person might end up saying, well, I'm Jacobite Christian, I'm Nestorian Christian, I'm Unitarian Christian, or I might be. You understand?
Man.
Same thing with the Muslims.
Yep, same thing with the Muslims. Them opinions turn into traditions.
Exactly, and it goes back to what scholar have you derived your knowledge from? While it's not supposed to be what's called in the Arabic language shakhsiyya. It's never supposed to be shakhsiyya, which is personality worship, where you start to deal with the personality of one particular individual. Like it doesn't matter who the person is, anybody can be fallible. Anybody can be can make a mistake in regards to their judgment. Yep. So that's why it always goes back to the key. The key in the table of contents is the Quran.
Yeah, and the Quran is mathematically coded. It's a math book. Like, there's no mistakes in math. There's no mistakes in numbers. And you know, even the numeric symbols are Arabic. Like Arabic is actually math. It's actually a mathematic language. You know, I know that. I just don't know how to speak it. So I don't even really get into that. I have to just speak English mathematics. Like, you know what I'm saying? My Islam has to be in English mathematic concepts.
Well, let me say it like this. Like, I was just breaking down to one of my family members, teaching them the huruf, teaching them the Arabic language, the alphabets.
Yeah.
Now every alphabet has a numeric code to it.
Yeah.
A lot of people. So one of the things in which, see, my family came from the nation, so therefore when we knew, as far as, especially going from there and going from, for instance, the nation of gods and earths, knowing that supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet coincide together. When I started to study the Arabic language, it was actually to make sure that nobody ever had chains on me in regards to understanding.
That's right.
So I can make sure I understand completely everything which I know. So to know once you go into that, to breaking that horizon, and understanding the Arabic language itself, you start realizing, okay, well, that has some basis, that this particular letter means and represents this particular numeric number. And so when you start putting certain words together, I mean, that could take you to a whole nother science. You know, like as far as what certain things mean and why was certain things placed in the position in which they were placed in the Quran itself.
Yeah.
And that's getting deep. Most people don't get that deep. But
Nah, we too lazy. We too lazy.
Yeah.
We too lazy. But like I said, and not to make it racial, but it just is what it is. The so-called disbelievers, the white race, the scientists, they're not lazy when it comes to physics. They're not lazy when it comes to experimenting with the atom and making hydrogen bombs or, you know, doing this or doing that. We're the lazy ones. We're the lazy ones. They're going to get into putting their own life on the line, experiment. They're going to try to go to the moon, or can we breathe this oxygen air? Can we go, you know, how high can we go into the atmosphere before we pass out? Like, they're not cowards when it comes to that. We're intellectual cowards. You know what I'm saying?
What I would say is, for the past 400 years, you know, as a people, we know that we fell victim to that Willie Lynch syndrome.
Right.
We fell victim to being taken away from our identities, being taken away from, you know, having the opportunity to get our hands on to dealing with experiments, dealing with, you know, just having knowledge. We had to regain education,
right,
as a people. You know what I'm saying? For those that's living here. So other people, of course, was colonized, you know what I'm saying, across the other side of the map. So we know out of all these situations that took place, I mean, I can get into talking about, you know, those who were considered as the Khazarians and
the Ashkenazis, the Khazars,
Ashkenazis, exactly, like those who didn't stop when they got their knowledge.
Right.
But we were set back. And so knowing that we were set back, like we understand completely why we're in the predicaments that we're in.
Right.
But we gotta be able to take it upon ourselves to teach our families, to teach the people around us, to make sure that, you know, especially, I know you probably, if you did see some of the things in which I was texting while the last conversation was going on, I'm like, how is this conversation important to our people?
Right. That's real. That's real.
You know what I'm saying? We have to make sure that everything in which we're saying, everything that we're doing, it gets back to the main thing about when we say one God, we say also one nation, one people.
Yeah.
So if we can be able to always coincide and come together on that which is true, then all the other stuff is just, you know.
Yeah. But unfortunately, everybody is not as mature as you are. You know what I'm saying? And it's the immature people that get together and do violence. They're the ones that get together and come against you physically and violently. So all the intellectual appealing to them and trying to lay out, you know, such wisdom and experience that you just did, that just makes them mad. That just makes them mad because you won't agree with them. Like, oh no, I can't agree with you. But like you said, man, brother, you got a lot of patience. Yeah, I got to have a lot of patience because I know they outnumber me. You know what I'm saying? All they got to do is get together and say, man, we tired of this nigga. He think he know it all and shit. So now they're going to try to do something physical and then it's going to turn to whatever. That's
the ignorance on their behalf, though.
Yeah.
You know, like like before the conversation was going to talking about Mary, he was talking about Jesus. So we already know what happens when a lot of ignorant people, you know what I'm saying? Now, on the Islamic approach, we end up saying sometimes you got to fake your own death.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Machiavellian rule came from that history of Esau first.
Man, look, man. I'm telling you, man, we definitely gonna have to chop it up because this is me and your first time ever talking, right?
Absolutely.
So for those that's watching and that's gonna watch this when I put it up, I don't know the brother. He don't claim, quote unquote, to be in the nation. He don't claim to agree with what I agree with. Look at the bars he just dropped on me, like, you know what I'm saying? And it don't mean that he agrees with what I'm talking about, but this what building means. But that's kind of why I didn't really want to do it with a black Muslim, you know, because from my experience, the black Orthodox Muslims is not really the problem. Like it's the quote unquote leaders of disbelief. It's those black Muslims that's following white Arab Muslim. That's my issue. That's the problem. But the black Orthodox Muslims that know who they are, that know that they're the fathers and they're the originals, we never had no problem. It'd be like this. I'd be like, okay, let me sit down and get off this live and teach me this and teach me that. Like my spirit totally different. But if you come in with that white supremacy thing and this is our religion and you got to know Arabic and oh man, I got some bars for you. Okay, turn on the live. You know what I'm saying? We got to take this fade. We got to run this fade.
Yeah. Hey, look, trust me. I definitely understand your standpoint and your stance because, of course, a man who don't stand for anything false,
right?
Person don't stand for something false for anything,
right?
So therefore, the same approach that you have is the same approach in which I had as far as trying to find out what is the actual truth of the things in which people are telling me. Now, people can piss on me and tell me it's raining,
right?
But at the end of the day, I'm gonna get out the rain first. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't stop pissing on me. And then I'm gonna find out what's the difference between the water and what's going on over there. So, like I said, I took my time out to learn.
Yeah.
Not only the things in which were presented in North America, but also how things are presented elsewhere.
That's right.
But not taking any stance of I'm with this person or I'm with that person or with this group or I'm with that group.
Yeah.
I'm with the truth.
That's hey man, I'm right there with you. It's just here, like we got ops coming at us, like you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So we don't have the luxury of being neutral, so to speak, because they ask you with you this and you that, like especially in the nation, there's such a threat. Like this information is such a threat because it's not neutral information. It's an information that's coming forward. Like it's not aggressive. It's really a defense because we've been aggressed on for 400 something years. Mm-hmm. So now when we have this information and we speaking out against what happened to us, now we're the haters. Now we're the anti-Semites. Now we're the such and such. So I don't have a luxury like you do to be able to get neutral or get away and study this and study that. I'm on the battlefield with it. Like they at me every day. So this is refreshing right here. I'm not playing with you. Like in the future we're gonna have to from now on. Like I'm gonna be reaching out for you like just on some other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
No problem at all. You got Mr. Make It Rain on the IG.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or anything in which I can be able to talk to you in regards to clarify understandings that some other people may not be able to clarify.
Right. Ain't no doubt. You already did it in this live. That's why my wheels already turning. There's no such thing as coincidence. So I definitely want to set something up with you and myself to bridge that gap. You know what I'm saying? And it's not anti nobody else, but it's just pro understanding. It's just pro truth and pro understanding. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No problem at all.
Yeah, man. So what's your name, big bros? Everybody know?
Oh, Mr. Make It Rain. This is Lord Rainey. You know where to find Mr. _Make_It_Rain.
Yeah. So it's much love and much respect, bro, and thank you for dropping them jewels. And like when I post this up, it's gonna go live, but then I'm gonna also do maybe a post or two on my stories in my feed, just shouting out your page, like follow my bro. You know what I'm saying? We, enlightening conversation, whatnot. And I really want to, like I said, continue this with you though, bro, for real.
Yeah, the lines is open anytime.
All right, salute, big soldier. Appreciate you, bro.
Salute.
All right, salam.
Salam.
Man, that was worth it. That was worth it. That was worth the 3 hours. That was worth the 3 hours of headache. That was worth the 3 hours right there. Like I say, my brother, he didn't necessarily subscribe to nothing. Like, whatever differences, you couldn't even tell we have no differences because any differences that we have ain't personal. They're not emotional differences. That's a scientist. That's how scientists get down. Scientists it ain't personal with scientists. Scientists they want to get to the meaning of everything. They want to get to the meaning of everything. He probably didn't have so much heartbreak or loss in his life. Like, yeah, I'm numb. I'm neutral. I ain't tripping on no person or nothing. I'm into the truth. And that's same with me. I'm into the truth. I get comfort by the truth. Especially if somebody is articulate enough, like Einstein. Everybody believe in Einstein. Einstein say, if you can't explain something simply, then you don't understand it well enough. This dude that's responsible for the so-called E equals MC squared, the theory of relativity, physics, speed of light, hydrogen bombs, and all of that. He said if you can't explain it simply, if you break it down like where a kindergartner can understand it, you don't understand it enough yourself. You don't understand it well enough yourself. So, brother, like, I need some bars like that. That's what I'm gonna be rocking. I'm gonna be rocking with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of saying, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That should be freaking cuss word. I'm so frustrated with my baby language. I know I'm sharp right here, and I know, but yeah, you got some jewels, man. I need to kick it with you. Truth might not be my truth or anyone. Math is truth. Like, there's no such thing as somebody saying 2 + 2 is 5. You can't make 2 + 2 = 5. Like, people be saying, "Oh, that's your truth. That's my truth." That's not accurate. It's only one truth. But if you want to argue that 2 + 2 don't equal 5, but then you can't present the proof and prove it simply and plainly and clearly, then you're kind of like the problem. You just got a spirit of rebellion, because I'm open to listen to disagreements and criticisms, but if you tell me 2 + 2 don't equal 4, 2 + 2 = 3, or 2 + 2 = 5, I'm gonna give you time to prove it, because I respect you as a human being. But now, if I determine over the course of a few minutes that you're not worthy of even, based on what you've proven to me your concept of reality is, or what your base of reality is, and I can't rock with you. You're scared of facts like the rest of them. I don't know what y'all talking about. But yeah, man, that was refreshing right there. I needed that. I'm gonna sleep kind of good. The young scientists, I don't want to put you on blast, but I know scientists when I see them. Yeah, that young scientist,